And welcome back to White Claw Wednesday, episode number 60.
Welcome back, everyone.
Got a nice crack. All right. Digital cheers.
Digital cheers. You're always so quick with the cracks. I got to catch up. There we go. Cheers.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay.
I'm currently a silhouette. Let's see if I can get that fixed.
Yeah, get out of the silhouette mode. So, you ever hear the phrase too much sauce?
Have I ever heard the phrase too much sauce? Yes.
Yeah, too
much sauce. Like
okay.
Too much. Like
So,
you're on fire kind of.
over
Like,
the
oh my God,
weekend-
that was too much sauce.
Yeah, there were Scott and Sam indulged in too much sauce.
No way.
And I really mean sauce when I say sauce.
As in.
So we were coming back from snowboarding.
Yeah.
And we were all very hungry, and we wanted pizza. So we're going to throw a little pizza party at Scott's. And
Cool.
we order the pizza. We go to get the pizza. We pick up the pizza. I handle all the transactions inside the restaurant. And then we're almost back to Scott's, and Scott's like, I forgot the ranch. I needed the ranch.
Okay.
And then we argue a little bit about the ranch. They force me to turn into Stater Brothers, and they're like, "Oh, Frank, go inside and get ranch." And I'm like, "No, I don't need ranch. Like the pizza, I'm good. Like
Why couldn't
ranch
they
is
go
great
in?
with
They
pizza."
had too much sauce?
Well, this is where we get to the too much sauce part. Is
Okay.
where I say no to doing their errand, so we drive to Scott's. We put the pizzas in the oven. Scott and Sam decide to go back to Stater Brothers to get sauce. And I decide to stay at Scott's and watch, the Mavs versus Nets game. And the funny thing is, Sam is obsessed with marinara. Sam wants more marinara sauce because he thinks the 1 cup of marinara that we got with our order of breadsticks isn't enough. And what's great about it is it's a large cup of marinara. Like when you think of your traditional
this is a
plastic
saucy
cup
story,
that has
dude.
ranch or sauce, whatever, think like double that. That's like the size of marinara we had. And Sam's complaining, "Oh, this isn't enough marinara." And neither
Did you guys
Scott
get breadsticks?
nor me. Yeah, for the breadsticks. He's like, "This isn't enough for the breadsticks."
Okay.
Or for the pizza. I don't know. He got obsessed with the marinara. And nobody's jumping on the marinara. Nobody's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sam, I got to split that with you." The one we got from nobody's like jumping on the one we already have. And Sam still thinks he needs more. And Scott needs his ranch. And so I hold the fort down, let the pizza stay warm in the oven, watch the basketball game. They drive back to Stater Brothers because I refuse to be a part of this.
And so you're just at Scott's house watching the game.
Yeah, I'm just at
without
Scott's house
him.
watching the game while they're wasting their money on sauce.
Nice.
So Sam buys an entire jar of pizza sauce, like a marinara pizza sauce. And then Scott buys a glass bottle of organic ranch because the Hidden Valley stuff just isn't looking good to him. So
It doesn't hit right. It doesn't hit right.
So they go into Stater Brothers and they just get those two things. They come back and Sam ends up not even be able to. He wasn't even able to finish the sauce we got from the pizza place.
Are you kidding me?
So he pours the sauce from the pizza place into one bowl, and then he pours part of the sauce from the Stater Brothers jar into another bowl to do like a taste test.
Mm-hmm.
And he tastes them both, and of course the sauce from the pizza place is better.
Yeah.
So he has one little taste from the bowl that he pours from the jar from Stater Brothers,
like, "Nah, I
and
don't
then he
want
just goes ham on the marinara we got from the restaurant. He eats all of that, and then by the time he's full, he's sitting with a full jar of marinara pizza sauce. And then meanwhile, you have Scott, who bought salad dressing, basically.
Yeah, like ranch.
This isn't the kind of ranch like you get at the pizza places or it comes out of Hidden Valley that really goes on everything.
Yeah.
This is like an organic, fancy, like you put this on your salad kind of dressing. And Scott opens his bottle and he goes to pour it and nothing comes out. Like he has it upside down and nothing is coming out. He's like,
it's like a blizzard.
Right then he knew he fucked up right then.
Yeah.
And then he tries to like stir it and stuff and it comes out so thick and he tries heating it up too. He's like, I'm gonna heat this up, and I'm like, dude, you don't heat up ranch.
Oh my God!
And then he puts the ranch in the microwave to heat it up to like not make it so keep it from being so thick. And then he takes one bite of the microwave ranch, and you can just see it in his face, like, oh man, this was a mistake. And it was just hilarious that we probably laughed for a good 5 minutes about them wasting money on the sauce.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
Yeah. And the pizza has sauce. That's what was the funniest thing about this whole thing.
Where'd you guys go?
Pizza has sauce on it.
To get pizza.
You know?
What pizza did you guys get?
Oh, Antonio's.
Ah, nice.
From we went to the one in I can never think of what that place is called. Mission Grove. Is that what it's called?
Mission Grove? Canyon Crest.
Yeah.
Mission Grove. I don't know one of the
No,
other.
not Canyon Crest. The one that's by the Grove.
Yeah, that's Mission Grove.
Is that Mission Grove? Yeah.
I mean, it's by the Grove,
it's
so.
got Grove in the, it's got Grove in the name. Damn, I just realized that. Wow.
I wonder why that makes sense. So how was snowboarding, dude? Because this is your second time going, right?
Yeah, and you remember, like, you were there with me on the first time.
Yeah, I do remember.
And my issue was braking, if you recall. Like, I was able to get speed, but I couldn't. Like, the only way I was able to slow myself down was by falling.
You had good balance. You just couldn't get the stopping down. Yeah.
So this time around, I had kind of the opposite effect.
Okay.
So now that I had a board that was, suited to my size this time, I had the complete opposite happen to where I was able to brake. I had the braking down pat. I had that going, but I couldn't do, the winding where you get the speed, where you get your board pointing down the hill, and then you keep that, you kind of making the snake motion down the hill.
You couldn't transition from one side to the other. Is that the difficult part?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't do I couldn't get the transition.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing on all the hills that we were going down was I end up just braking the whole way. So I'm just like,
oh, dude, I can
like,
feel your quads right now, dude. Just
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just leaning.
Oh, yeah.
I was just leaning back on the back of my ankles, just
yeah,
and just slowly just making my way down every hill, because we're going up. Because everybody in the group is an experienced skier / snowboarder. So I'm the one. Like, when you're the one in a group who doesn't know what they're doing, you just kind of adapt to everybody else.
Yeah, you're along for the ride.
It's hard to do that. So I would say I had a better experience this time than the first time, just because I think knowing how to brake is more important than what I knew how to do last time, because I couldn't have handled the hills I was doing this time with the skill I had last time, pretty much.
Well,
so it was I was happy that the one thing I had down was what helped me to survive. But there were a couple times where I slipped and I fell, and I was in the middle of just going down this very steep mountain. And there was one point where I'm just sliding down on my butt with my board, going down first.
And you're just
then
skidding.
I try to slam my hands into the snow to stop myself, basically. But I end up turning myself. So my head is going down the mountain first.
So you're just sliding down the mountain.
I'm sliding down the mountain head first. And on my back, head first. And, dude, that was the moment where I was actually really scared. Because there's just, I don't know, there's something about, it was a super steep mountain. And going down it head first on your back, you feel so out of control.
I mean,
and
you have no control.
It was the one moment where I was terrified. And I was able to stop myself. And then as soon as I stopped myself and I'm like pausing and I'm waiting for the strength to try to get back up, someone on the ski lift, passes above me and yells some advice to me. And it's like, I appreciate it. But it's, first of all, I couldn't hear any of it. And that's really all there is. Like,
how do you know they weren't making fun of you then?
No, they were being, I could hear in the tone of their voice that they were trying to give me a pointer. They were giving me a pointer because I heard him like start like, oh, like I've been there before or something like that. So like they were trying to help me, but it was just funny.
Nice.
Like I couldn't get it all. I didn't really know what they said. So I was just like, thanks.
Yeah.
Even though in my mind I'm thinking, man, like this is already tough enough. Like you giving me pointers from above, it makes it a little tougher.
Like, you don't got to recognize what's going on right here, Like, just let me sulk and let me finish up this bad point. And then maybe if we see each other down at the bottom, you could give me some pointers.
Yeah, exactly. There were a few times where I was worried that someone was about to, like, slide over in my direction and give me a pointer. I was just like, please, I just don't. I'm just trying to get through this, guys.
You've got those people that they have the season passes. And they'll just come right up to you. They're like coming up to you super speed, and then they'll just stop right in front of you. They'll and they'll be like, "You're all right, man?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, for sure. And they'll keep going. It's like, what was the point of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very first thing that happened as soon as we walk into the snow area we start putting on one of our boot straps, and you got this one of those classic snowboarders just sliding in and braking perfectly. Like, he looks like he's just in his element in terms of controlling his speed and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he comes sliding into us. Well, not into us, but he stops perfectly in front of the crowd that's like putting their boards on, and he's like, you guys can't strap up here. You gotta move in.
Oh,
you can't.
Really?
And it was just so funny because he felt like he could easily get, like, he was in control of the situation. He just wanted to tell us to move, you know? Because it wasn't like a guy coming in with no control and just crashing into us. He's like, oh, man, you're in my way. You know, it was like a dude with full control just coming up and being like, get the hell out of here. And
because
it's just like,
because if he has full control, he can ride up all the way to the point where he literally has to take off his boot, you know? He doesn't want to have to stop, take off his boot, and then ride in a little bit. Yeah, those guys are really good, man. Snowboarding is actually, I think it's easier to learn than skiing. This is just from what I get from people. But it's harder to master. You know, like I've been okay. I mean, I'm good at snowboarding. Like I'm pretty good. I'm good enough to have like a full day of fun and just eat it maybe like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I agree. I from what Scott told me about your trip that you took in January, seems like you guys are about the same skill level. Yeah,
Scott can go fast. I don't know how he goes so fast. Like we weigh like pretty much the same. We had like the same board, and I think he's maybe a little over an inch or a little less than an inch taller than me, but he can go fast. And I'm like,
so you think he generally beats you
in terms of speed? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Scott's probably better than me. Yeah. I mean, he was hitting jumps like we hadn't even warmed up, and I was being a scaredy cat, and I was like, I don't know if I want to hit this yet. Let me get a round in. But yeah, we were getting pretty beat up by the end of the day because we were trying some stupid stuff. I had eaten it pretty bad.
My knees are pretty bruised, and my first go at it, we go up to the top, and then Sam takes off. And Scott's like waiting for me, and I couldn't get it. Like I kept getting up on my board, falling, and I was kind of veering off to the side where there was like you weren't supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
And
no.
And I looked so defeated. Like, if anybody knows about Tony Romo trying to score this touchdown when they were really close to the end zone and he got tackled and they lost the game, and there's a very famous picture of Tony Romo sitting on his butt on the field with his head down and just his legs out like this. And he just looks so crushed.
I think I know the photo.
And that's kind of like what I looked like after attempted to go down this first hill. And then I just waved Scott off, and I undid my straps, and I just walked back up to the top and sat down on the bench up there and just waited. I was just like, I can't do this right now. And and then by the time Sam and Scott had come back up to meet back up with me, I had just worked up the confidence, but I just said, you know what, I'm just going for it. And then I started to go for it. They told me about the whole braking technique. I immediately tried that, and I just kind of got locked into a rhythm where I was just braking down hills. I like to think of it as gliding down the hill, you know? Just kind of like shaving the ice in a little bit.
You know what,
really
dude?
Shaving it. You're not really shredding it. You're shaving it.
You're shaving it. Yeah. That's like step 1 too, because when I started learning, or that's like step 1 to being able to like actually, you know, go down one of the greens without falling. Because when I started learning, that's what I would do. I would have it just locked in place like this, and I would just go all the way down. And by the end of the day, literally like the front end of my shins, like, you know, you got those muscles in front of your calf that like lift, they lift your foot up, you know? Oh my God. Those were on fire, dude, because you're constantly just lifting your toes up to like push back a little bit so you can glide down. And yeah, dude, once you get that down, you can start, you know, trying to flip your tail out and start, you know, learning how to sort of glide back and forth. But for me, like, the scary part about snowboarding is it's not like skateboarding or any other sport in a sense, because once you commit, like you're committing to the top of a mountain, you know? It's not like you can just
that's
be
what's
like,
so intimidating.
oh, like I'm just going to go skateboard around the neighborhood and like you're not feeling it. Like you can just walk home or whatever, you know, or like biking, same thing. It's like with snowboarding, it's like if you're going to try to go up to the top, okay, now you're at the top. And like, I mean, you technically, I think you can ask to go back down on the gondola.
You can. And that was like the moment I was having with myself was I was like, I am not going to ask to be taken down.
Yeah.
So I just have to get down this. That was really what made me just go for it, was that thought of like, I would much rather just go for it than have to find a staff member and be like, hey, can you allow me to go back down on the thing?
Yeah.
Like,
you've committed. No. Like that's the difference. Is like once you're up there, you have to get down, and it's very much a trial and error sport more than most. I would say. You know, I mean, there's trial and error in everything, but there's, I guess it's a higher risk. You know, like you're going to the top, and like okay, I'm going for it, and you got to get down. And everyone's fallen, you know, so.
And that's the other thing. That's what also makes it a big risk, is you have a bunch of other people of just a wide range of skill levels also flying down the hill.
Mm-hmm. Like this last time I went with Scott, I was just cruising down the hill, nice and casual, and then I got this guy, he flew by me, and I was like, oh, right on, dude. And then he kind of starts, like, slowing down and doing these, like, wide crisscrosses. Mm-hmm. And so I'm reading it, and I kind of like go away from him as he's like crisscrossing. And then he does something completely different. Like he doesn't go wide, and he just sort of turns back like kind of in the middle of the slope and just like goes right in front of me. And I just hit a lip and just eat it, you know?
Oof. Yeah.
But it's all part of it. It's all part of it. It's all part of the learning process, all part of the sport. It's fun, man.
Yeah. And I was just hoping when I was sliding down that hill head first, I was like, man, I hope in my split seconds of not seeing what I'm about to run into, that I don't run into somebody or like, you know, run into one of the lift poles that come up from the ground and go up into the.
Thanks. So how long were you like on your back sliding down?
Oh man, I would say probably for a total of like 15 seconds or so.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. That's a long time to be sliding down.
I would say like the middle of that 15 seconds, so maybe at like second, 8 through 10, 8 through 11, mm-hmm. those 3 seconds in the middle, I was head first down the mountain. It did feel like here's what was cool about it though. I was terrified in that moment, but I also felt like my life has never been that action-packed, you know?
There you go, man.
I kind of felt like SpiderMan sliding down something, and like I needed to web up to like stop myself from dying pretty much. So it really it kicked everything into gear, and I was able to get myself right.
You're like Miles Morales when he jumps off the building, takes like the leap of faith, and he's like, all right.
Exactly,
I'm going to do
That's kind of what it was like.
And you see him fall down. I mean, I'm talking about Into the Spider-Verse. You see him fall all the way down out of the frame. Yeah. And then you just see a web. He's like, and it's like, oh yeah, Dude, that's one of my favorite parts of that movie. I get chills just thinking about it. That's so cool. And oh man, the soundtrack to that film is so amazing.
Yeah, the soundtrack too. Is
I think the
sweet.
song plays. I think it's "Danger" is the one that plays. In that scene.
It is.
Man, I gotta rewatch that film. It's a good film when Amanda likes stuff like that, and she really enjoyed that film. So.
Yeah. That's speaking about have you watched it yet? Have you started watching WandaVision yet?
Guess what, dude?
Yeah.
Not only did I watch one episode, I watched all 8 episodes. Yeah. So I'm caught up, bro, and I'm deep into it right now. I mean, I'm full blown. I even watched a couple YouTube videos after. Looked into the Easter eggs, got all the theories and stuff. And I actually didn't know. So for those people that are watching it, there's like 8 minutes of credits. And they have about a 4-minute section of the credits that's like kind of, it's cooler. It's, they put more effort into it, I guess. It's not just like text going through a screen. It's like they've got visuals and stuff going on in the background. And I always just skipped through it. You know, I always just skipped through it because I was like, oh, there's 8 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and watch 8 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't know until after I watched episode 8 that episode 7 and 8 both had a mid-credit scene type thing. So I went back, rewatched those after I had watched them, and I was like,
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you want to talk about right now, but I mean, I'm ready to go, dude.
Dude, it's interesting you mentioned that the mid-credit scenes because the one from episode 7 still hasn't paid off, you know? And I think that's because episode 8, the last one, was very much an exposition dump. And I think a good way. I liked how it did those flashbacks in terms of like what it revealed in the larger canon of the MCU, like the fact that, you know, spoilers coming up for anybody who hasn't seen up to episode 8. That
I mean, are we just going to spoil things
has
right now?
always had powers.
Okay, spoiler, yes.
Yeah, she's always had powers, and it was kind of like what the Mind Stone did to her was pretty much just allow her to access her witch abilities, I guess, in a way.
Well, that was like, you know, because I forget. I think it was episode 8 where she's in Sokovia or something, or she's in like the Hydra facility, and they're running
all the flashbacks,
and they're running the tests. And is it the Mind Stone? No, it's the
Tesseract. Mind Stone. Yeah, it's the Mind Stone.
Okay, so the Tesseract comes out, and it like turns into the Mind Stone, and then she sees figure.
It's not the Tesseract, Ryan. It's not the Tesseract. The Tesseract has the Space Stone in it.
Okay.
The Mind Stone comes from the jewel that was in Loki's staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, yeah.
So she basically pops out that stone from Loki's staff and then removes the Mind Stone from it, and she gets this vision of the Scarlet Witch, and it's like... And then I was watching a video, they were mentioning she could have edited out the footage, you know, because you saw it on the computer screen of the security guy at Hydra. You saw his view of it through the computer screen, and it was just her walking up and then dropping to the floor, like that. But you could still see the cut. You could still see that it was like she had edited her herself. Like she's that powerful that she was able to manipulate the video footage as it was being recorded.
I get
because she was having this revelation.
Yeah, because they were like, "What happened? What happened in there?"
Yeah. But the question now becomes, how did Quicksilver get his powers? Like, did he already have powers like she did when they were kids? Did she give him powers? Did the stone give him powers? Because she survives the stone because she already has powers. That's confirmed now. And he also survived the stone, according to, you know, Age of Ultron. So did he also have powers before? Or, you know, that's a
good question. I doubt they'll go into it, though. You know? I mean, he's
No, I don't think so. Especially with him being dead in canon.
Yeah. Or half alive, whatever this person is.
See, did that blow you away when they bring in Evan Peters, the X-Men Quicksilver?
I did. Yeah, it did blow me away. And at first,
did you see what I was trying to remember when I was telling you about that episode, and I was trying to tell you about it without actually giving you the details of it?
I do. Yes.
I think I was dead wrong about that, by the way. Like, they're not bringing in X-Men characters. You know, I think it's just Marvel kind of giving you the wink.
Yeah. Having a little fun with it, I think.
Yeah, because if that was Agnes doing that whole, you know, bringing in the fake Pietro because the real one's dead, it just seems like it's just like a little fun little play on like, haha, gotcha.
Well,
you know,
it's
almost like diverting our attention, like making us think something else is happening by fucking taking the X-Men Quicksilver and putting them in. And in reality, it's just like, no. It's nothing to do with X-Men.
Do you remember the point? It was the Halloween episode, and it's Pietro talking to Wanda, and the kids just get their powers, or not both of them, but I forget if it's Billy or Tommy, but
yeah,
the kid starts running really fast, and then the guy Pietro says "kick ass," and then Wanda goes, "Huh, kick ass," like.
Dude,
and she was just talking about, like, why do you look different, you know? And so it was kind of like an ode to that as well, right?
Yeah, it was. See, and that is also so.
It's hilarious.
It's just like, why you gotta do that to me? Like,
I know.
You're making me want all these things to happen that I know aren't gonna happen. Like, you're just winking at me, and you're not even gonna pay it off. You know? Because hearing like, oh, it's like, I swear you look different, and then she hears kick-ass, and she's like, kick-ass? It's like, how does, like, you're telling me that in the MCU they released kick-ass? Like, this kick-ass existed? And
are they doing a crossover right now?
She's like, why does the act? She's watching Wanda's watching Kick-Ass. And she's like, why does the actor playing Kick-Ass look like my dead brother?
Yeah, exactly.
It just seemed. The X-Men thing was not an obvious wink at the time. Like when it happened, when the episode happened, I got so excited. I was like, oh my God. She's opened up portals to other dimensions, and she's going to bring in the X-Men. Like, that's immediately where my mind went, and it was just so wrong. Like, it was so wrong. I was so off. But them putting him in there allows that thought to happen. But that whole kick-ass line, that is just a full-blown, obvious wink. Not even to, like, because you know they're not going to cross over.
It's not even a storyline thing. It's just kind of like a chuckle type, you know.
Yeah, it was just like the tiny, like the smallest little Easter egg.
Well, it's so funny that they did that, and it's so funny that you say about the X-Men thing, because I was listening to videos, or I was watching videos about the theory being that Magneto is going to be like a big supervillain in, I don't know, the upcoming phase or whatever.
And see, that's another thing, is there's been the YouTube videos I've been watching about the WandaVision series is that they keep talking about how, oh, there's going to be one more big cameo. There's going to be one more big cameo. Because Paul Bettany, actor who plays Vision, did an interview about how he was super psyched to work with this actor. And he was like, oh, and he confirmed like it wasn't Evan Peters he was talking about. And now that we're coming up to episode 9, the videos I've been watching, the guys have been saying that it's more than likely that Paul Bettany is just making a little inside joke in his interview because, you know, you saw the mid-credits scene for the end of episode 8, the most recent episode, which has them using Vision's body, which Wanda didn't actually steal.
Right.
Using Vision's body and bringing it back to life as this new, like, kind of like light blue, whitish Vision. And so I think Paul Bettany was making a joke like, oh, I got to do scenes with someone who I've always wanted to do scenes
like
with.
Myself.
We had great chemistry. And he's being all tongue in cheek. And it's like, oh, okay. So there's probably not a big reveal coming in this last episode, but at least we're definitely going to get a Vision versus Vision fight, which should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
And then also a witch versus witch fight, which will be sweet too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they left the episode on a really big cliffhanger, and it's obvious that I forget her name. What's her name? Agnes or whatever?
Yeah, Agnes.
Is
it Agatha No, wait.
It's Agatha Harkness or something.
It's Agatha Harkness, yeah.
Harkness.
But I think she went as Agnes before her reveal.
Yeah, which was like a combination of the names.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's pretty apparent that she wants to sort of steal her powers, as she did with the other witches in the during the Salem witch trials. Which, by the way, I'm so stupid, but when they showed that scene, I always thought Salem witch trials were in Oregon because there's a Salem, Oregon. And I had always driven through there like, oh, wow, like this is the place. This is the place where it happened. Wrong. There's a Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It shows up, and I was like, wait a second. Did they get the wrong Salem? And then I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, it makes sense when you think about it because Massachusetts, I'm pretty sure, is older than Oregon.
Way older, yeah. I mean, in terms of, when we settled there, yeah.
Yeah, so. But that would, I like that that intro for that, starting with that flashback. Because it's very much foreshadowing for what you're saying in terms of the power steal.
Right.
And,
well, that's the attempt that she's going to be doing, right?
Yeah, and you can already see it with the fact that it's like, hey, if the purple beam can beat the blue beam, then why can't the red beam beat the purple beam?
Right, exactly.
So, which is what I'm assuming is going to happen.
You know what's pretty funny about it too?
Yeah.
Is like Scarlet, right? Like Scarlet is red, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like she has all these like red powers, you know? And then it takes Agatha 8 episodes and like all these flashbacks to figure out that she's like the Red Witch, you know? As she has like red powers. She's like, you're the Scarlet Witch, as she has like a red orb in her hand, you know? She's like, well, duh.
Have you seen her magic? No.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because that line at the very end of episode 8 where she says the Scarlet Witch, that's the first time Wanda is called the Scarlet Witch in the MCU so far.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that actually until I guess this
I didn't know that
episode.
until I watched one of my YouTube videos on the on the series. I was like, it's just one of those things. Once you hear it, you realize, hey, that's true. They actually haven't done that.
Well, because people have been calling her Scarlet Witch since they introduced her in Age of Ultron, right? I mean,
and that's the big thing with having years of comic book lore that your stuff is based on, and that you bring in a character, everyone's like, okay, that's Scarlet Witch. Like, you don't even have to say her name, but like, we're gonna call her that. Like, or like, it's happening. That's pretty much what happened.
What do you think happens with Vision? So, okay, I think, obviously the Paul Bettany, or I guess not Paul Bettany, but the Vision that we know probably can't live outside the Hex, right? I think that's sort of like a known thing. Now, I mean, maybe there's some, I don't know, MCU logic where she transfers this Vision to the actual Vision's body in his character or whatever, or the new Vision, the White Vision. I don't know. Yeah. But I think that there's no way that he can live outside the Hex. So what do you think happens? What do you think happens? I mean, the battle will happen. The new Vision is awake. He looked at his own hands, right?
Yeah. I think they could potentially merge. Because if Scarlet, as we saw, Wanda was able to create Vision out of her own powers. She was able to make a new one. Yeah. So I think there's a chance that Vision that Wanda made can potentially kind of take over the White Vision. Take over his old body, his old original body. Because he can like phase through stuff and all that jazz. So, I don't see why he can't just like phase into the White Vision and just kind of absorb him. Obviously, there's going to be a big battle, but I can see it being that he's able to take over the White Vision's body, aka his old body. And I'm assuming Wanda's going to have something to do with that in terms of getting in the fight. She'll probably like take out Agatha first, and then she'll come in and step in with the Vision fight, and she's able to like move his mind. And I don't know, I'm just going for the big home run predictions here, but I can see that being the thing, because I think they want to continue with Vision in the MCU, continue with the relationship he has with Wanda. And I know Wanda's coming back for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out in 2022 or something like that, end of this year, I don't know. But I know she's a big part of that movie, so she's staying, she's going to survive.
Right, of course.
And
her
I
kids,
don't know, I can just,
her kids have
I
to
can
be alive,
see them.
Right? Or at least one of them has to be alive.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
I can see it having a happy ending, though, in terms of, because we've kind of been on this sitcom, like the show was sort of sold as like, oh, it's like a meta sitcom MCU thing.
Right.
So I think it would be on theme to end with a happy ending, which I can see as Vision getting his own body back, his old body back, and being able to live outside the circle. And then therefore, Wanda doesn't need the Hex that she's created. She doesn't need it anymore to have a life with Vision, because Vision can now live outside again and is pretty much back to life. So she can end that whole Hex thing and go back to normal. So yeah, I see a happy ending like that happening. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the whole show is kind of, I mean, we really have seen it. I mean, it's been foreshadowed for the past 7 episodes or so. And then the 8th episode was, really diving into sort of the depressive state and how she sort of got to I guess, how Westview came to be, right? And it all revolves around the past of Wanda and all these traumatic experiences. And so that's how she sort of channeled her energy, and it came as like a catalyst, right? And that's how Westview got created. So I think that happy ending is what's going to happen. I don't. It can't be a situation. I mean, it's obviously not going to be like an Infinity War situation where everything that was created, everything that was built, ends. You know. And someone that we haven't talked about, but Monica Rambeau, she has mentioned,
powers.
Yeah, she has powers now, but she had mentioned that I think it was maybe Darcy that was like, oh, what about the kids? Something about the kids and this and that. And Monica's like, no, the kids are real. Everything in there is real. It's just like being manipulated by Wanda, right?
Yeah.
So the kids are real. So they're going to be able to live outside of the hex, I'm assuming. They also have superpowers.
True.
Which means that she somehow mated with Vision that she created.
I think she created the babies similar to how she created Vision.
Ah, okay. That kind of makes sense. But they have superpowers.
Like, if you could create your husband, why would you need to use him to create kids?
Yeah. Why would you also make yourself pregnant, though? I mean,
Yeah, because she was trying to do the whole sitcom thing. Like, she was just naturally falling into that trope. Which made perfect sense because you saw before, like, her life became tragedy when, Stark started dropping bombs on her family and killed her parents. And it was just before that moment she was living in this happy, moment with her family before everything turned to tragedy, where she was watching these sitcoms, and so it was kind of like her self-defense mechanism in terms of when the trauma got too bad, because from that point on it was just trauma after trauma after trauma. Family dies, she gets experimented on by Hydra, she gets betrayed by Ultron, brother killed, she falls in love, she has to kill her love and watch him get brought back to life and get killed again. And it's just it's a lot of tough stuff. So that's, again, what we're saying about the happy ending. I think it's time that she gets a happy ending to kind of take her into her next arc.
And I'm loving the character development going on. Originally, I wasn't too much of a fan of her character, but now I really am. I mean, now I'm hoping that she's going to be sort of one of the main people in this sort of new age. I also really like, this may be like totally culturally inappropriate, but I really like when she has an American accent and not the Russian Sokovian one. But I know that's going to go away when the sitcoms go away.
Well, it's funny you mentioned. I was just about to mention the whole accent thing, because I like how in this show they've poked fun at the fact that she has it and she doesn't have it.
It's weird. It's like she just uses it whenever. It's not consistent. Let me put it that way, right?
Yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I really don't know if it comes from like. I mean, I think she's a super talented actress, and I really am curious to know whether or not it started out as like an intentional thing. She was like, I'm going to sometimes have it, and I'm going to sometimes not have it. Or if it was like a thing where she starts, her first movie's Age of Ultron, she's laying on the accent thick, and then she gets to Civil War, and then the accent's kind of gone. I really wonder, like, did she just forget to do the accent when the cameras started rolling by the second movie? And then by the time that they got too deep and released the movie, they were like, it's a character trait of yours, I guess, that you just kind of lose and gain the accent. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I would just love to know if it's intentional. I think it's great either way. I think it would be kind of funny if it was like, the producers came up to her and were like, you kind of lost the accent in the second movie you were in, so I think we're going to just kind of lay into that, where you kind of have it and you don't have it depending on your mood, because that's kind of what it seems to have become. Depending on the situation she's in, the accent either comes back or leaves, which I kind of like as a character trait.
It's almost like when she's being serious, she has the Sokovian accent. And then
the accent comes back, yeah.
And then when the sitcom's going on, or when she's just sort of talking and the sitcom isn't being filmed per se, she has the American accent,
Yeah, it's wow, now that I'm like thinking about it, it almost seems as if maybe they've been setting this up from the beginning. Like they established early that her accent comes and goes, so then by the time we got to this sitcom it actually had a meaning to it. So now like you can go back and watch all her stuff, and like if it's a scene where it's like you're watching with a new fan and they're like, "Hey, what happened to her accent?" And they're like, "Hey, she's not serious about this right now. This isn't serious."
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry.
They're just trying to slowly weed off of it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I really did like how they did the sitcom. I mean, just imagine being, the two main actors and sort of having this idea being pitched to you. You're like, wow, like this is gonna be something that has most likely never been done, and it's gonna be something of very high production value. And I mean, of course they say yes, but I mean, I'm sure it's hard. I'm sure it's really hard to do as well as they did. But I mean, honestly, like everything's spot on, and I really liked her acting in every single different phase. I thought that each one had, its distinctions and its characteristics, and they really laid into them, and they really were flamboyant in that way. I thought it was really well done. And I don't think we'll go back to the sitcom in the final episode, maybe as like a closing thing, or I don't know. They'll probably do something small, but I'm interested to see what the last episode entails.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. With the way they've structured it, and I also like how they've included every episode has had these moments that kind of take you out of the sitcom world in terms of like, whoa, something serious is happening. Like every episode had those, and it was really, they really built on each other well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the further you get into the show, the more of these moments of, something fishy's going on happen. And I like how as the season went on, they mixed in the what was happening outside of the hex with the sword agents and stuff. And I don't know if you noticed this, but they would change aspect ratio when they switch from sitcom mode to like action, like this is serious.
Yeah, I did notice that.
It's a widescreen. They go black bars on top and bottom widescreen when it's like movie time, and that's kind of what it feels like when you're watching an MCU movie. And then they go full screen with the little skinny black bars on bottom and top when they're doing the TV, because that's what you're used to seeing when you watch TV show. And that was one of my favorite episodes. I think it was episode 7, 6 or 7. I think 7. But the one that they did like Modern Family kind of. They shot it in the Modern Family style with the interviews, and I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that was a really good one. But yeah, I'm super excited for Monica Rambeau. I think her superhero name's gonna be Photon, but I don't know, because that's what her mom's nickname was. But
yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah, so
and she
we'll
has
see
powers similar to Captain Marvel, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I was watching like this little analysis of it, and something to do with like energy, like she can, I don't know, dude. She seems really powerful, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah, she definitely is, and I think she got those powers from going through that hex multiple times.
Yeah. That's exactly why.
And did you see Captain Marvel?
The movie. Yeah, I saw the movie. I thought you
saw
meant
the movie.
As she was going through the hex, there was like a Captain Marvel visual or something.
Well, there wasn't a visual, but there was an audio.
Her voice, yeah.
Her voice, when she was like, when your mom went to pick out a kid, she picked the best one, and that's like at the end of the Captain Marvel movie, as soon as Captain Marvel's about to take off in space, and she's talking to
kids
her
got the
when
jacket
she's really
on.
Young.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did
Dude,
you?
I love that always gets me to tear up when they like put like a voice of a character line from like a previous movie in the background as it like that was like my favorite. Like Rise of Skywalker wasn't that great of a movie, I'll admit, but that scene when she's hearing all the Jedi talk to her, fucking kills me. What were you gonna say though?
Oh shit, I don't know. It slipped my mind. You got me thinking about Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
So
have you started watching Clone Wars yet?
Clone Wars? No, I haven't, dude. No, I haven't. I've been doing a lot of watching lately though. More than usual this week.
Well, I'm really impressed with you having all 8 episodes done to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't sleep much.
The show before the finale.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like the perfect time to do it. So I finished, I think, episode 7. Maybe want to say on like Monday or something like that, or no, not Monday. Maybe like Wednesday, and then it came out. Episode 8 came out 2 days later, and I was like, oh, perfect, you know.
Nice.
And then Amanda and I, we were binge watching. I'll give you kind of like a hint, sort of like a not medieval. Oh yeah, kind of like old English Netflix show. That's
old English
really popular right now, and it's been popular for maybe the past 6 months or so. It's a newer one. Only one
did you guys start watching Bridgerton?
Yeah. Dude, actually, it's so funny. I'm into it, bro. It's good. I really enjoy it. I find myself sometimes just like, you know, Amanda's like all serious into it, watching it, and she's getting like a tear in her eye, and I just start laughing. But, you know, it's really enjoyable, honestly.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
You know what's funny is Scott watched that whole show with his mom. and like it's
that
so
is
funny
hilarious.
for me to think of that.
Oh my god.
Because he showed me one of the scenes. He showed me one of the scenes from the show.
Oh, dude, yeah. They get real, man.
And I was just like, damn, dude, and he was like, it's like this every episode too. Like I was just like, whoa, man.
What's crazy about it is episode, I mean, I can't remember how many episodes the season is, but like the first quarter of the season, somewhat mellow. Yeah. They're building it up, and like there's a few sort of scenes here and there where it'll just like cut to a couple and they're just like going at it really quick, but it's nothing like in your face, you know? Yeah. Once, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but once like everything they're building up happens, there's like 2 episodes where every other scene is people having sex. And it's just, it's unbelievable the amount of sex that they put in that show.
Dude, it's funny because that show has done extremely well since it's come out, and I know that from not even watching, and like I haven't even had to watch it to know that. But the star of the show, the hunky main dude, you know, the stud, the guy with the jawline that could cut through anything. I mean,
I know
he
perfectly trimmed.
He's already hosted an episode of SNL.
Has he really?
Like. Yeah, like that's how big this show is. It's like this dude has already hosted an episode of SNL, and it's like it's just very impressive. Like that's how you know a show has impact. When the star of a show is immediately just popping up in other areas, because the show is that.
And I had never heard of either of these 2 people beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. And I had never seen this actor before, but now he's killing it. I mean. Good for him. I mean, to shoot all those sex scenes, like, whew, that's a lot of awkwardness there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine too, because like I've done weird things on camera, but I mean that's next level.
Yeah, I was watching an interview, with Chris Evans actually. And he's like, every actor needs to, you know, go through a love scene. And he's talking about how cringy and unbearable it is and awkward. And then he's like, every actor should go through it. You know, just to know what it's like. It's got to be so awkward.
I've heard him say that before. I've heard that quote, and
imagine if you're in like a relationship, and you got to do something like that. What, like?
Well, that's what's funny about
what do you
that
say?
idea is that's what broke up Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston.
Really? Was that the
this? Well, I mean, it's kind of like the tabloid Hollywood rumor is that on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, that was the movie that they fell in love on, making that movie together, and they ended up being married after that for a long time.
Right.
But yeah, before Brad Pitt did that movie with Angelina Jolie, he was dating Jennifer Aniston.
Right.
And then, boom, that movie happens, and then he has a long marriage with Angelina Jolie where they adopt a lot of kids and have a whole family. So that's a prime example because Mr. and Mrs. Smith has many love scenes, has one of the greatest build-ups to a love scene in movie history, in my opinion. Have you seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I haven't, no.
There's a great scene where it's when they both find out they're assassins. Like, it's after they found out they're assassins trying to kill each other, and they're in the house in their home that they've built a marriage in. And they're just grabbing all the guns that they have hidden in different compartments, and they're just shooting at each other. They're just shooting up the house. And it gets to, like, they each and they have this huge battle going through the house. And then they both pick up one gun, and they both, like, have it pointed at each other, like both guns in each other's faces. And they're
epic.
just staring at each other. And they're waiting for each other to pull the trigger. And then they just, like, end up dropping the guns and just making out. And they make love. And it's just
right on.
It's just a buildup that's intense. And you feel the romance in the movie, so it doesn't surprise me that Brad and Angelina had a full relationship after that movie, because sometimes, like Chris Evans says, sometimes it's just awkwardness, but sometimes there's sparks flying, I guess.
Right. I mean, sometimes the chemistry is just there. Like, you
Exactly.
You've seen love scenes where you're like, wow, like they work. I mean, it's a professional, relationship, but at the same time it's like, man, the chemistry there is, I mean, you can't deny it. Like, that's not acting. Like, they work together,
Exactly.
And other times you're watching this and you're like, oh, like, this is bad,
Yeah, this feels forced.
Yeah.
This feels like I'm waiting for the director to yell cut.
Yeah. I think I can't remember what the movie is. It's with Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz.
Oh, There's Something About Mary?
There's Something About Mary, yeah. And I think they have a kissing scene at the end.
I love that movie.
Well, okay, yeah, great movie. I think there's a kissing scene, like, at the very end. And I think that's the scene that made me just feel like, oh, man, like, that was so forced. Like, that wasn't good. Not that I'm a professional,
You're talking about the end of the movie when Ben Stiller ends up getting with Cameron Diaz's character Mary.
Yeah, when he's walking down the street and he's in full-on tears, crying so hard, and
then she stops him and they kiss, and it's happily ever after.
Yeah.
See, that's a good example of. That's probably the weakest moment in that movie, because it tries to be too real. Because that movie's so goofy and so, like, it's a Farley Brothers comedy, like the same guys who did Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
So the level of stupid to the humor is very high. So it's hard to open your movie with, a guy getting his penis caught in his zipper when he's going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then to close it with, trying to have a real meaningful kiss between those two characters.
Yeah.
So that's not what you watch There's Something About Mary for. You don't watch it for, but I know what you're talking about, actually, and I could think of it too. Like, it feels like it's like Cameron Diaz doesn't look like she's enjoying this. That's just kind of what it's just like. It just feels.
It's cringy.
Like
it's cringy. It's cringy.
Yeah, it's cringy. Yeah, it's like, oh.
That's how I was feeling, and I've said this before, but that's also how I feel about SpiderMan Far From Home. When they start introducing the, Mary Jane and SpiderMan.
The romance with Zendaya?
Yeah, exactly. And it was cringy altogether, but I think at the end, there's a kiss scene, I think. And at the end, I was like, okay, like, it might get better. I kind of had high hopes for it, and I was like, okay, like, this could still turn out good, and it was just the icing on a bad cake, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it could have been that. I mean, it is hard to be better than both Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, and then Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone were. Because I think both
you
of
got
those
a very
couples
good point there.
of Spider-Man movies, they both had good chemistry going. I mean, you can make fun of Kirsten Dunst's acting, and you can say that Tobey Maguire was kind of emotionless, but it worked. I thought like that kiss scene in the rain when Spider-Man's upside down,
hanging upside down.
like
That's iconic. I mean,
that's some passion there. Like I feel that. Whew, that's a good kiss right there.
It is.
You know, and then the end of Spider-Man 2 when you see Spider-Man up on that rail watching. It kills me just talking about it. But you know, he looks at her and she's hugging her firefighter boyfriend. He has to turn his back and put his mask on and jump off like that.
Yeah.
And then when she ends up rushing, like just 5 minutes later in the Spider-Man 2, at the very end of the movie, she ends up rushing in with the wedding dress and she's like, "Go get him, Tiger!" Like, oh man, it's hard to beat that. You know, especially on the third iteration of a character, it's like, whew.
Yeah,
they got their work cut out for them. And then, speaking about the new title came out, the third one's going to be called Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. So they're going full send on the home name. I wonder if it's going to be a home trilogy and they're going to try to move on after. But
No Way Home.
No Way Home. It makes sense after the ending of Far From Home. That's for sure. You know, with his identity being outed. So.
Well, just to her though, right? I mean, who else knew?
What was that?
Well, just to her though, right? I mean.
No, dude, the end of Far From Home. You saw it. The whole New York City finds out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
No, I do not remember this at all. What happened?
You do not remember? Okay, there's the mid-credit scene of Far From Home, Spider-Man swinging through the city.
I didn't.
And then
yeah.
And then the news, you're in Times Square, and a big old news board lights up with J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, from the Raimi Tobey Maguire trilogy.
Yeah.
He pops up with a new J. Jonah Jameson look. Like, he's got the same mustache, but he's got a bald head now, and he's going in and ranting about Spider-Man, and then he's like, and it turns out Spider-Man's a murderer. Look at this video. And he plays a video from Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio character. He alters the video footage because, you know, he's a tech wizard or whatever. And he alters the video footage and he makes it look like Spider-Man kills him, like murders him in cold blood, like cold blood, takes a gun and shoots him when he's unarmed. And then the video ends with Mysterio telling all of New York City, Spider-Man murdered me and Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then it cuts to Spider-Man and he puts his hands on his head like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And then the movie ends.
Nope, didn't see that.
So that's where we're at right now.
I did not see that.
You did not see that?
I did not see that.
Oh,
because
Ryan.
I watched it late, remember?
Oh.
I watched it way late, and I also streamed it online from a website that was not validated, so you
probably just cut your losses once the credits started rolling.
No, because I remember the swinging scene where he texts, or they're like texting each other, and then he picks her up, and they start swinging through the city. I remember that.
And that's what leads into it. Yeah, because she's on his, she's like in his arm, like he's holding on to her when he's getting all this news. Like, she's right next to him.
Wow, no, I think it cut off then. I don't know. I definitely didn't see that.
Well, now you know why it's called No Way Home.
Wow, so everyone knows his identity?
Yeah, everyone knows his identity.
Oh my God, that changes everything, dude.
I know, dude. Yeah, bro. No Way Home, man.
Right on. Well.
All right, you want to wrap her up?
Yeah, let's wrap this up, dude. Let's close this out.
All right.
Episode 60. I still got half my claw left, but I'll chug it.
I got one little sippy. All right, episode 60, closing with a digital cheers. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We love y'all. Peace out.
Peace.